We always have one question that we ask all of our guests at the end, Bill, and I'm going to fire this one at you as well. And with everything that you've given us for advice here already today, you might be repeating yourself in a few instances, but if you were to give one piece of advice to somebody that's looking to get a career in sports, they want to get that first job in sports, get their foot in the door, what would that advice be?
Well, it sounds a little redundant to say look at the sales department first, so I'll give you something else. Um, and it was told to me as I was looking for my first book publishing deal. I wanted to do a book that worse than anything in my life. I wanted to be a published author. The problem was I didn't know what I wanted to write about. I wanted it to be something that would be special, that people would enjoy, that they'd get something from, but I didn't know what that was going to be. So what I did for several years, I actually went up to what's called Book Expo America. It was in Chicago for many years and then moved to DC and then New York and some other places. But I was in radio at the time and was doing all this research kind of on the side. And I was kind of a book junkie anyway, so I would go up to the show and get the free books that they'd have and have these giant satchels with 60 books in them and bring them home. But the one thing I did to learn what it is that I needed to do was I had one of the radio station's polo shirts that had the logo on it. And so I borrowed the tape recorder from the news department 2 successive years. And I went up to Book Expo and I interviewed dozens of authors. And I brought my tape recorder pretending to be an interviewer looking for a story for a radio station. And I never did any story for the radio station, but they talked to me like I was from the media, so that was cool. And I asked them several questions about their book. What's your book about? What did you go through to write it? And then I asked them the question I really wanted to know. What would be your single best piece of advice for an unagented, unpublished author in today's marketplace? And that's the answer I wanted. From the dozens of answers I got, probably 70% of the published authors I talked to gave me the single piece of advice that I've taken through to this day. Don't give up. And I would say to each of you that want to be in professional sports in some capacity, find the best way in. Don't give up. Use all the resources you have the goal, have a singularity of focus to make it in the sports world. If you really want to be there, you will find the way to be there. I suggest one of those ways is to do it in sales, but you may have another way in which to do it yourself. But my single best piece of advice to you would be, just like I heard from dozens of authors to me, don't give up. Now, today, I can tell you I have 2 published books to my credit. And there's a whole other story involved in that, but that's not what we're talking about today. Don't give up on your dream of working in sports. Sales is a great way to be able to do that, and I'll be glad to help you in any way I can to get through that door.